Alright, hey everybody, Mobile Ranger here, back again. Been a little minute, but you know, it is what it is. But we've got the Cosmic Campaign blog post, so I'm trying run through it real quick. Alright. Hello Toonsters, welcome to the Cosmic Campaign. Blah 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 blah. The usual preamble. Yeah, that's the same. Yeah, that sounds about right. I see. Interesting. So this is a 4-chapter Cosmic Campaign. They actually told us the things in advance this time. What a crazy idea. Okay. Campaign, store tokens, medals. It's about the same. That's the same. That energy. Yeah. I guess look who's featured here. As sort of just contemplating as I was reading this. Why am I? Oh, Countess is on the ticket wheel, so dealing with them 2 events in a row for some reason. Sure. Exchange rates. Alright, so featured. So, yep. The detectives, Sorceress Petunia. We got the Super Toons. We got the villains. We got Ristos again. We got the Looners again, and that's about it. Exchange rate. We got 30 Mega Chungus pieces, which if the rework comes out during this event, it'd be nice. Get them going. No, let's do this. This is a pretty quick thing. I'm gonna see. Did I even look at it? Because normally I do like videos of the rework. I don't remember if I did this season's. Doesn't look like I did. I've definitely read it. Wouldn't be surprised if I recorded it. So maybe I do a quick speed run. Yeah, there, season 25. I only saw 24, so let's do this real fast. This is the season 25 blog post. Yeah, alright. I can read. This is what I'm looking for. The patch notes. Alright. With their current campaign coming to a close, the adventurers leave the forefront as new mysteries arrive. It's required tunes careful to the detectives. We already know that. I'm very aware this is late to discussion, but it's helpful in a sense because I can talk about the actual reworks, considering most of them are out now. Important note is ongoing rework for Scoundrels, so we can add that alongside the ongoing rework for Heartthrob that should be coming out soon. Unless I just forgot, like I swore they said that they were gonna do that. Let's do real. Oops, wrong one. Real quick, blah 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 blah. Should be fully realized in the next season. So yeah, let's just hope this isn't a robot thing where they just give up on doing them for no reason. Alright, yeah, changes to damage over time, villains and super tunes, combo. Got the theme scope, which seems pretty good. Yeah, I mean, debuff resistance is nice. As best as I can understand it, the team's built off of Joe Monday to an effect. Yeah, exactly. We are building the detectives based around Joe Monday's unique traits, which he does actually is relatively unique. For game, you know. It's immunity to all debuffs. That's pretty good. There's a lot of tunes that work with debuff resistance. It's not. It's not really what we're talking about here. We'll get to him in a second. Alright, for this season, we're not doing any specific balance changes, which I'll note is a really weird phrase. I think what they mean by that is they're not doing individual changes, like to just one tune. Because the rest of these are sort of they're recontextualizing other tunes. And, reworks of whole teams, or reworks like Joe Monday for a new team. So I think what they were trying to say is they're not doing any rebalances. Wouldn't be right either. Yeah, I don't know how you would say it, but like buffs or nerfs for an individual tune. Like they had the count catcher buffs last season, which is not the case in this season lineup because spoiler alert, detectives, DOT or villains, and the other one, super tunes, are the only reworks that we got this season. Which you should know by the fact it's going to be over in like 8 days. To contextualize the change, the original way that status effects dealt damage was based off a tune's attack and completely ignored the enemy effect. That was true. As the game has evolved and new features have been introduced, it's been commonplace to very heavily invest in a tune's attack stat, upwards of more than double a tune's baseline stat attack. Which I'm assuming they'd mean, like max attack, tune up 45. Let's get tune 48. I don't know if that would be counted in this equation. I'm gonna say no. So this makes it that the damage caused by added damage over time is quickly at a hand. I mean, I will note, scoundrels had been usable in war. So, and they're the scoundrels, so they're pretty bad. So I can sort of understand the logic, especially with new tune stat lines, like the amount of stat, DOT someone like let's just straight up Google them, like that did anything. Nope. Here we go, this is the right place. I'm doing excellent navigation to the site here, but to be fair, it's very late. Exactly, like someone like Isumboshi Speedy does like this much damage over time. It's like once per ally. With like, this skill has 3 different clauses, and all it does is inflict 1 DOT on each enemy. And then you look at something like, Evil Granny, and it's just like, yeah, inflict all enemies with DOT for like the rest of their life. So you get sort of this scale of tunes with new stats that have DOT. New tunes that have damage over time. Sort of have it in far lesser amounts than some of the older tunes do. And someone like Witch Hazel, that should probably have been a better example, but it's like 4 or 5 DOT for like 3 turns, it's a lot compared to a Boshi or a Toxic Crusher, That being said, I can understand, the like 50% collective stat jump that reworks tend to be given these older tunes. That they have an inclination to avoid massive overstatting and just a completely uncounterable team with the exception of like Warriors or Heartthrob, I guess. So yeah, that, maybe a wee too much damage. Well, that being said, having seen the posthumousness of this change, which it's shown down here, 5% DOT per stack, kind of blows. It, like, as someone with largely tuned up 45 villains, i.e., 3 of them, it's not like they're terrible or anything. It's not like, I don't level 16 gadgets on them, so they could be better. But they don't feel like they got the proper amount of impact. Someone like, Evil Granny can still attack well, and it's not like the DOTs do no damage, but I feel like most of the damage that's going on here is just from the actual members of the team, like their normal attacks. Just sort of like, the anti. My brain will get there one day. The opposite of something like Scoundrels, where they do like 2 damage with their normal attacks, but then they just inflict 10 DOT on you, and then you die in real life. But, yes. So I get that concern, especially since they seem to be, like, they were balancing DOT behind the scenes. Because there was points before these reworks came out proper, where you logged into the game, and DOT was doing, like, 10,000 damage, or something preposterously stupid like that. Like, it was just, use the DOT team, the enemy team died. So I get the idea. To make it a little more similar to something like rotting or whatever. Sort of a concrete, predictable amount of damage, but it's still, like, powerful. The thing with rotting, though, is it has more than one effect. It isn't just raw damage. It's also, lessened speed and offense. I don't really remember what it does off the top of my head. Yes, yeah, reduce attack and speed, so it does more than, it's 3% DOT. And even with that team, they kind of inflict more, like rotting over. Like, the scale that enemy teams get rotting feels like a lot higher than the scale teams get damage over time for. Maybe that's just me, but I just feels even hard to work with. Because you can get like 12 rotting on one tune. And even so, like, still just, gets treated like business as usual. So, yeah, I don't know. Zero's really good to go. Final stages of testing, subject to change, as bad as usual. As a veteran of the squad, Joe Monday will get a majorly propped up. I already read this part. As he already carries quite a few powerful mechanics like the existing kit, which is true. I don't even know if they did this rarity change, because I know they said that they were gonna, with Carrot Blanca, they were gonna change Slaslow's rarity, and I don't think they ever did. I know the game opened 10 seconds ago, so I just look at it, but I don't feel like it. Well, no, another cop team, or another cop tune banished from existence, so I swear they had to do something with that team, because Officer Prissy has never been good, just ever. You'll never had a reason to use her. Anyways, extra stat-ups here, does a little less damage. Worded more like normally. And some extra bonus for resist, and applies to the whole team too, so it's nice. Guess we've got a lot better. Spread out some debuffs. That's good. Yeah, the average clauses. They get some defense down. Yeah, Alliance War bonus, improper spacing, business as usual. Was 2 performance of counterattack, grant all detective team members 1 of each stat. Cool. Okay. So I use the Super Tune reworks. And I will note, my primary issue with this is I don't necessarily mind moving the leadership to a theme skill. Because, I mean, I do a little, because I made the same complaint about Nautilus, how they just removed Taz's thing and made it a theme skill. But I sort of see the benefit here, because A, there's more than 5 Super Tune team members, like you could conceivably not use Super Rabbit, so the ability to sort of still have his skill while not necessarily needing to use him, I can understand, especially since since released new, or I guess second legendary for the team. It's half legendary. I don't know. Sorcerer's Petunia is weird, but you could conceivably have a different legendary on the team instead of Super Rabbit. You could use her with Iron Mod. I don't know if you will. I mean, it's not like there's anti-synergy with someone that like Lunar Draghorn has, but it's an option. So I don't necessarily hate this. The one thing I do hate about this is, quite frankly, the way Super Rabbit's leadership works. And this doesn't help, because not only is it decoupled from Super Rabbit existing, they also buffed it. Because the way his leader skill originally worked was they all had damage over time until your entire team took a turn. Or until the entire enemy team took a turn if you're using them on offense, but it's largely a defense issue. So essentially, it was like, just got a free entire rotation of turns where they're just invincible. You can do nothing to them, especially with Super Rabbit's built-in debuff resistance. It was just like, oh, okay, sure, I'll just do nothing for 4 turns. It was a little obnoxious, but they didn't have piece of paper stats. But now they're going to have real stats and damage immunity that doesn't go until their turn. So now the skill's better, and we're going to get into something in a second. Well, actually, no, we're not, because Super Rabbit's right here. Stats. I'm just going to scroll down to where the thing is. This skill. Now, unless he's stunned, and he still has built-in debuff resistance for existing, now they get it again. So, right, they go around, right, like, you could be sitting there for like 3-4 turns, depending on the speed disparity of your tunes. It's just very backwards logic. Like, the buff to his speed is now a nerf, because before, at least, you'd want to go first to be able to, like, manipulate your damage immunity a little more. Squeak an extra turn out of it or something. Now, you want to do the level 1 Bugs the Brave strat of giving him no levels to intentionally make him slower. So they can take his 2 turns to damage immunity and go through 3 rotations, 4 rotations, 5 rotations of the enemy team taking a turn. Why? Why would you make already the most annoying aspect of the super tunes worse? I mean, it'd be fine if damage immunity got worse over time, if there's like more tunes that could get rid of it or go around it or anything. But no. The amount of things that can counter damage immunity, one like 3 cooldown special from Caesar Leghorn, and the Imperial rework got stat crept right out of relevancy like 2 months after it came out. Which, as a side note, was a damn shame because I really liked that team. But, so, you can tank yourself to. And again, by the way, Super Rabbit still. I mean, okay, it doesn't work while he's stunned, but the Imperials don't have a team member that stuns. So unless you're gonna sub in some random stun bozo onto your team, it's a non-factor. Still, so like this skill operates basically exactly the same. The skill that I finally add is now coming from like a 300 attack stat, and of course it could also be buffed by this. So I could be chilling it up with 30% extra attack on top of his new attack stats. But, so yeah, not only does it have all of that, but he only had that skill in the first place because, like, 4 years ago, Imperials were the strongest team to ever exist, ever. And they just threw it on. Like, they made Fiends specifically for countering Monster Tweety. Or bleh. They made Fiends to counter Imperials. Of course, the original Tweety design was a bit screwed because it Tweety moved when anyone stole. So you just put Tweety on your Imperials team, and now he's like twice as good. But they fixed that, so But I don't know. The point is, this part of his skill is basically irrelevant. It's really just to be annoying in tower, and it's just to be annoying. It's just an annoying aspect of his skill. Why? And my best guess is what are the tune balance guys? Quack, I think. Or whoever's doing the tune balancing was like, well, it's just part of his skill, we don't see a reason to get rid of it, so they just didn't. But if you consider that it was just stupid, it's just not a thing he needs anymore. It's not like any of the rest of them have steel-based skills. It's just another thing that makes super tunes annoying, which they didn't need. Alright, I think that was a bit of a tangent. Let me get back on to damage immunity. Right, that's because I was talking about super tunes, or talking about Imperials. So yeah, that's one skill. You could use Cannonball Coyote, but you tell me with a straight face you have Tune Up 45 Circus, and then I tell you to your face that you're stupid. I mean, okay, sure, you could use him on something else, but he only gains damage immunity on like the 5-turn move. So I don't know if it would be such a great idea. And then tunes that do like max health damage, so I don't know, zombies would probably be alright against them. But in general, they seem like they'll be a really annoying defense again. Which I don't think should have been the idea of the rework of Yeah, let's not fix any of the problems the original Super Tunes in their prime had. No, no, no. Let's make that worse. That sounds like a great idea. Right, like. Yep. And keep in mind, this is off Cannonball Coyote stats, which is like probably 200 attack at this point. So it's not even going to be that effective of a counter. Anyways. So, I mean, these skills are better. He doesn't gain the turn meter when he has the damage immunity, or while he has taunt, so that's nice, because these are kind of counterintuitive ideas. Like, I mean, even the speed up really is counterintuitive here. Like, you almost want to get speed down to have damage immunity longer, but I don't really think the developers think about that. And this skill's better, because as I mentioned, he gets defense up. He doesn't give attack up to grant attack ups to support tunes, but that just seems kind of random. Oh, and he gives real debuff resistance, so they get even more debuff resistance. I mean, I guess I'm fine with it. I mean, technically, it also makes the team a little better, because, like, you could use DOT before. I mean, Presto exists, so, I mean, admittedly, probably would have been the best idea. But I don't know. I'm not gonna spend the whole time complaining about Super Tunes, because the villains reworks are also here. I need to complain about them instead. This skill is basically the same. I mean, he gets some added defense now, which is nice. I mean, this is a warm up, but that's pretty standard practice. Yeah, so that's him. Yeah, Succotash, more numbers. I don't understand the numbers, that's why I don't talk about them. Okay, this is around 100 damage now, which you probably want your attacker to have. Yeah, attack up, heal over time, the turn meter, random stat ups, you know, additional taunt. Rita, Nito. Okay, so yeah, the attack has been changed to piercing. This is now while in battle effect. And then he grants some speed while he has damage immunity. So that's nice. He still can't gain it for himself, but I suppose he's designed to be... Oh, sure. Right, that's what I was saying. They came out at the same time, so maybe it's supposed to be used as Super Rabbit, because Super Rabbit does have this skill, even though it's not really a specific way for it to be able to target him, but cross that bridge when we come to it. Oh, this skill does some more damage and inflicts debuffs, which is nice. And they sort of clarified that this doesn't trigger again, because admittedly that is, like, right here is the way the skill always worked. If you killed 3 guys with flare balls, like you killed the first guy, then you use it again, it wouldn't trigger a 3rd time. Yeah, you killed 2 guys is the better way of saying that, because it doesn't fire off 3 times. This is a warm-up now, for some reason. Sure, whatever. So yes, okay, so this is now just blankly applied to Super Tune. Well, I guess they changed it to make it less RNG. So never mind. They fixed one annoyance. Because really, I don't know if turn meter resistance goes through tenacity checks. But yeah, I mean, grants speed up at the start of battle now, which maybe I don't know if they were like slightly aware because they seem to be doing these weird things of. Because technically, like, this would be at the start of battle too. So they're like giving them speed, which is a bit of a strange decision for a damage immunity team. Because, they get turns, they lose their damage immunity faster. It's not based off enemies anymore. So yeah, the skill's basically the same. The skill's the same. I mean, it'll grant you heal over time if you don't have it already, and an extra arena stat down cleansing. It's coolio. The skill is literally the same. I don't know why they acted like they rewrote it. It's just in a larger text box. Like, you'd think something would change because it's formatted differently, but no, it's the same. Unless there's like a cooldown addition to it or something that it just isn't being displayed here. Yeah, the skill's basically the same, it's just worded more normally. The skill's the same, and then he has the new thing. Alright, Mega Chungus. This is neat. They renamed his basic for some reason. No clue why, but they did. This skill has gotten the Aristo treatment of dealing less damage out of turn, which I originally thought was weird because this tune can't really gain counterattack. But then I remembered assist comps existed, and by that I mean I presumably recorded the video. I still don't know if I did it at all. But when I first looked at it, I'm like, this is a weird addition for this tune, but it's actually a fairly stable place on assist teams because AoE basic tunes are good for that. So this is an actual functional nerf. I don't know why they decided to do this. I mean, it's not like Mega Chungus was exactly a problem in that role, or nor is that role even really a problem. But sure, game, sure. Because I mean, I always used him in full super tunes, largely because with this guy, 50 extra attack, that's pretty good for a basically all AoE tune. Yeah, because still got some nerfs, but that's about it. Well, you got business as usual and a cooldown reduction. So. Alright, here's Super Coyote. His big Mondo damage. Has an additional turn of warm up for some reason. You definitely wouldn't want to use it turn 1. I guess that's just like an actual nerf at this point, because you definitely wouldn't want to use it turn 1, because you're going to blow yourself up. Because one funny thing I remembered about this tune, which, I mean, I'd hope it fixed the bug, because I have to assume was the bug, was if you use this skill on a tune that countered, if they countered this skill, you would just die. Or there's some odd scenario. Or maybe it was if Wily got counter damage. could counter himself off of this move. There was something with that skill and counter where Coyote perished, just defeated instantly. I will note the skill used to only remove one stack of DOT. Or damage immunity. It doesn't anymore. But it used to only do one, so you could get two and not perish horribly from being subject to one counter attack. But you know, it's a little anecdotal, not necessarily relevant here. It has extra piercing for Super Tune allies, so that's cool, I guess. It's damage immunity, attack for the rest of the battle, get speed up in arena, skill's basically the same otherwise. Damage immunity, turn meter, cleansing, yeah, so that's kind of a reword. It does more attack down now. Again, if any attack down is cleansed, grant your allies 10% turn meter attack up. Right. Neato. The skill's basically the same, so it gets a little more cleanse action going. It's nice. We also have some additional healing. But yeah, the heal over time is heal over time. An odd thing I noticed about heal over time is there's a fair amount of teams that use it. Something like Super Tunes. I think most members have at least one way of applying heal over time. I mean, I don't think Omega Chungus does, but like, Porky gives it obviously. Succotash has a way of gaining it, and Super Rabbit does as well, I believe. Yes, Super Rabbit has it. So like, basically all my members, because I'm gonna give a 5-second. Oops, went past it. Yeah, exactly. Let's go too. So like, almost all of them have a way to gain a heal over time, but it doesn't really do anything. Like, I mean, that's a weird way of phrasing it. It's not what, I mean, obviously it heals over time. It was pretty self-descript. What I meant to say is most teams that have sort of these recurring effects will have benefits for them in their skill. Even with debuffs, you know, villains have damage over time based skills. You know, zombies with rotting, etc. Stuff like that. But Helo Time, despite being on several teams in pretty prolific amounts, you know, something like Citizens, there's a lot of Citizens that gain heal over time. But does it, like, benefit them? Is there, like, a passive? You know, you have extra defense, or you get extra recovery, or speed, or something. It's like, it's not like stats, it's not like abilities of additional effects will have heal over time. Okay, I guess technically Iron Mutt does, but you're really gonna use Iron Mutt? Let's get real here. There's like 16 members of this team now with Petunia. You're not using Iron Mutt. No, you're not. Anyways, but yeah, the heal over time is most stat buffs. You know, we'll have a team that gains additional mechanics for using the stat buff in some way. Not heal over time. It's like basically the only one. It's strange. Even something like recovery, which is essentially bonus on 90% of the teams that are able to use it. There'll be like 1 or 2 members that'll inflict recovery up or recovery down. Even still, there'll be things like Showbiz, just random old tunes from when the effects first came out. They're like, yep, we're capable of using this. It's a bit strange. Well, whatever. Okay, I already read it all. Let's do Iron Mud real quick. Okay, reduce cooldown on this skill. It's now for each team member, so you pretty much don't even care. I mean, this skill's significantly better. It's not, oh no, remove one buff from enemy villains. It's not just, 3 setup from everybody. So that's pretty okay. However, team members gain damage immunity. Yeah, get more turn metering in for some reason. He has all attack up when he has taunt. So, because the taunt clause is still there. You don't want your taunting tunes to gain turn meter. But, this skill doesn't warm up for some reason. I mean, it is a partial AoE, but it's 75% damage with no other effects outside of arena on a defender with 300 damage. I mean, I guess that's 300. It's basically the same stats like Super Rabbit. Yeah, let's attack stats the Porky, but talk about him being overkill or whatever. So I don't know. Sure, it seems a little unnecessary for me, but go off, I guess, as the kids say. Actually, I don't think kids would be saying that anymore. Just like a 22-year-old phrase. It's old news. 2016 phrase. Okay. As one of the teams affected by the damage over time change, the villains are going through large reworks that are aimed to both compensate for the raw power loss and mechanical change, while giving their skills more power, so they aren't solely reliant on applying damage over time. So that is kind of what I described. I can't say. So, I guess it worked. It just feels like a strange application of damage over time. For what it used to be, like a team-defining mechanic to be essentially bonus, it was a little odd. So, I don't know, maybe give damage over time a second look. While some of their changes were more modest than others, even Granny's gone through the most extensive rework in quite a while. Part of her leadership skill is being transferred to newly introduced theme passive. This fixes nothing. So not only did they, again, for what is the 4th time at this point, take from a Toon's leadership skill and put it as a theme passive, which is really lazy, in my opinion. Because, at that rate, you just don't have the theme passive. I mean, I guess there's 5 villain tunes now, Well, it's a little quote-unquote, but, I wouldn't say Source's Petunia is bad in villains, because I have no idea, because I don't, it's a 4-star tune, what do you want me to do with her? But the important thing to note here is, not only did they do something really lazy, they didn't fix the issue. Again, both of the reworks here do not fundamentally fix any of the problems the original team had. Because the issue with OG villains was they had this completely random and almost, quite frankly, unnecessary revive mechanic. On Evil Granny, and at least when Evil Granny died, you didn't have to deal with it anymore. You could blitz after Evil Granny, and if she didn't die, if she didn't revive, then you weren't dealing with it anymore. It was like a non-factor. Now there's a theme skill. You're dealing with it for the entire battle. It's just because okay, the first issue, it has nothing to do with the rest of the team. Evil Granny was the only member of the team that had anything revive mechanic based. It was this skill and this skill. It was her random passive, which they also technically lied because the revive was not on the legendary skill. It was on a random passive, and the leadership skill was kind of useless. It kind of sucks because it didn't even know anything. But now, or well, we'll get to it in a second. I mean, you just saw it. Now it is related to the revive skill, but it's also a theme passive, so it's technically related. But it was just a random unnecessary thing, and it was RNG. It was 25% revive chance, or it was 50. It was 50. It was a 50% revive chance, just forever. It was they could revive 16 times in the course of battle, and you just had to deal with it. And this obviously does not fix any of that. Okay, sure, it's 50% worse while Evil Granny isn't alive. Oh, cool. Yeah, I so care. I totally care. Not the fact that you didn't think to change it in the first place. Like, why? Why is this here? Like, okay, sure. I'll attest. It is a decent enough separation from, like, scoundrels. I mean, all the scoundrels were originally villains, so it was kind of whatever. You know, the teams weren't exactly intended to be split like this. But if they're gonna live with the decision, sure, whatever. But you didn't fix the problem. You didn't fix it. This is my number one issue with these two. They fixed nothing. They said, let's take, admittedly, two fairly old teams, two fairly classic teams. Like, okay, let's rework them, right? You know, give them all these additional effects. You know, attack here, some health here, silence there, and fix none of the original issues the team had. Why does this team have revive? No idea. Do the rest of the team members have revive base effects? Let me check. No, 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 nope. This is this. Okay, sorry. In Arena, this is set. Okay, so they added a game mode base revive effect. No, no, no. This doesn't work out now, so good luck using a turn one to. Well, they wouldn't even get owned anyways, because, oh, it just got removed, let me give it back again. Nope. 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 Okay. So they have basically exactly as many revive skills as they did before, which was 3, by the way. 3. And they're like, yeah, let's just make it RNG again, but slightly different. Like, why? Why? If you want to do this, why not just be like, the first time each villain team member is defeated, they revive? It'll be a little redundant. It'd be, you know, sort of Zombie Sam's passive again, but or if they're like if a villain team member is defeated by an enemy with 5 or more damage over time, they revive. Or the first time they're defeated with an enemy with more than X amount of damage over time, something like that. Yeah, something like overkill. Why this? Why make it RNG still? I don't understand. I don't get it. And the additional effects are nice and all, a little redundant when half of their power is kneecapped by the fact that damage over time is an accessory. Really an accessory. I mean, some initial stat down here. I mean, this is way different. Like, this no longer gives them all the damage over time forever. Well, it's not forever, it was 2 turns. It was all the damage over time ever. Sorry, that's the more accurate way of saying that. This is skill, so it's like, okay, the support that does actual damage. Yeah, okay, this skill doesn't, like, okay. I get you don't actually want to, like, applying AoE to the skill is applying AoE to the taunt. Okay, so this one did, yeah. So this one did, but Nova's doesn't, for some reason. I'm not looking at this wrong, right? Oh, I'm not. No cooldown here. Like, it's basically universally applied, no matter what strength, but the one that gives attack up first is A-okay, I guess. Sure. Yeah, whatever. I know better than balancing geniuses that said, yeah, let's keep this. Let's make this an idea. And then, they didn't change this either. This is also RNG. Why not just, once per each of this tune's turns or something, or once per turn? There are ways to work around this. They themselves, these almost chronic liars, said this is the most extensive rework they've done in quite a while. And they basically changed nothing. They did change things, yes. But it's essentially, if you get unlucky on defense, your team just dies. If you get unlucky on offense, you're playing the game forever. You're playing the game for a million years. It's just not a fun gameplay experience, especially with the damage over time. It's not like on offense you just ignore the revive capacity. It's like Divine, if you just kill them all, there's no need to use the revives. But now it's like, I'm sorry, your damage over time is going to tickle them. It's going to do 1,000 damage, sorry, on the 40,000 damage Lunar Toro, sorry, I hope you can understand. And this skill also has the most cooldown ever. I mean, he can basically get a free turn off of it now. Well, he already could, never mind, I lied. I mean, it does more damage, and it gives attack ups and defense downs. So I can sort of get it. I mean, again, felt like he did nothing, but maybe I just understated him before. I'm speedrunning here because I'm aware of the video length. People don't really like the long videos. But anyway, I'd split it up, but I had spent 5 minutes talking about the Cosmic campaign. So this is a passive now, and this is an active now, which are actually 2 pretty big differences. The skill only does 1 DOT now. Okay. And I guess it technically does 2 with this passive, but... Alright, I don't know. Turn meter to Coolio. I don't think I'll level with you here. We don't have the super tune buffs in yet. But even if they were, I don't think they did a good job with these reworks. Because, again, they didn't fix the original issues. Like, I appreciate, the usable stat lines, the modern stat lines. What's the point of reworking the tombs with two of the most contentious mechanics this game's had, and fixing neither of them? You fix neither of them. Why? You make them worse. You make them worse. I don't understand. I don't understand the design philosophy. Like, what is RNG revives versus non-RNG actually existent mechanic of the team revives? How is that a disservice to design elements of villains? I dare you to tell me that. How it's more faithful, but like, why? What is the point of the faithfulness to a bad mechanic? It's not useful, it's not fun, it doesn't improve the gameplay experience. Why would you keep it? I'm gonna spend another 15 minutes ranting here if I don't talk anymore. If I don't stop talking. So, I'm the Mobile Rager, I'm signing off. Good night, everybody. That's the wrong show. Whatever. Next time I'll do Freakazoid. Actually, I don't know if there is a Freakazoid catchphrase. I never watched it. Alright, that's all, folks.